What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and in today's video, going to be hopping back into the Yankees universe, recapping the series with the Toronto Blue Jays. This series had tons of drama. This series had a massive performance from one massive man in particular. Tons of energy here in this one north above the border. And the Yankees end up taking this series 3-1. Lots of momentum here for this team. Got some injury news, and we will cover it all here shortly. But before we get too far into this video, just wanted to say if you guys enjoy this video, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel to not miss out on any Yankees news and series recaps coming up in the future. So to start things off, as always, we'll go through all of the games quickly here. In Game 1, the Yankees end up winning this game by a score of 7-4. Aaron Judge has a little bit of drama in this game. Turns out that the pitcher that came in for Toronto, who I believe was called up from the minors and is back down now, he did an interview and basically talked about how he was tipping pitches. There was a pretty infamous shot of the Blue Jays broadcast, Aaron Judge sort of peeking over to first base of the dugout, not sure, to get the signs before he put one 460 to center field. But moving on past that, some other notes on this game. Aaron Judge with 2 home runs here in this game. That sort of drama coming on the second one. The Yankees end up trotting out an opener for Johnny Brito, which pretty interesting. We go with Johnny Cordero, and pretty effective. Cordero goes 2, and I believe Brito went 5 1/3. So overall, pretty good strategy for us. Toronto ends up clawing back in this game, but the Kinger ends up putting him away with the save to close out the game 7-4. Moving on to the second game, the Yankees as well take this one 6-3 to go up 2-0 in the series. More drama continues in this game. Domingo German pitching really well. As we know, he had some difficulties or some sort of troubles, I guess, with the sticky stuff on the mound. They end up doing a check on him and find that his hand to be sticky. So he was ejected from the game. I believe the home plate umpire was the same guy that was sort of giving him the troubles in a previous start, telling him to wash off his hands before allowing him to continue to pitch throughout the game. So, as we continue on from here, just talk about a little bit more drama before we get into the actual game. Tons of chatter back and forth between the dugouts. The Blue Jays coaching staff was yelling at third base coach Luis Rojas to get back in the coach's box, just sort of the way that they're positioned. And the Yankees end up doing the same. Aaron Boone stays really petty and shouts back to the umpire to tell them to abide by the same rules that they're sort of barking at the Yankees to follow as well. So continuing on in this game, Ian Hamilton actually ends up getting hurt in this game. Big bullpen day by the Yankees, and they pitched extremely well. Ian Hamilton does end up coming out of this game, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it was a right groin tightness issue, and he ends up leaving the game. Toronto ties the game in the 5th inning. Aaron Judge hits an absolute monster job to dead center again, and this time really funny videos coming out about him not taking that peek down to first base. He ends up breaking a leaf from the maple leaf in dead center to give the Yankees the lead, and in the end, Wandy comes in for the save. Moving on to game number 3, the Blue Jays end up taking this one 3-0 in sort of a weird game. This game did go into extra innings. It was an absolute duel between Garrett Cole and Chris Bassett. Cole went 6, I believe Bassett went 7. Yankees pen pitched really well in this game to follow up Garrett Cole. Ended up getting out of a jam in the 7th after Garrett ended up getting 2 guys on. But unfortunately, there were some costly errors late for the Yankees that sort of didn't allow them to capitalize. They ultimately weren't the biggest costing factors, but Momentum is a big thing in the game of baseball, and I feel like that may have sort of contributed to this loss here. And then ultimately in the 10th inning, we have a runner on third with one out, not being able to get him in. A little bit unexcusable. And in the bottom half, Jansen hit a 3-run home run off of Wandy. So sort of the first instance here in the high leverager Wandy has not been able to get it done of recent. And finally, wrapping things up with the game last night, the Yankees end up taking this one 4-2 and close out the series in 3-1 fashion. Nestor Cortes, really big bounce back start for him. He goes 6 strong, only 2 earned runs, 6 Ks for him. Pretty good stat line, and I think was really important for him to get back on track and push past that 5th and 6th inning and still be effective with his pitches. I think he threw just over 90 pitches. Aaron Judge hits a 2-run homer in the first to set the precedent and take the lead for us. The Web Dog, in and out of trouble last night. Another shout out to Albert Abreu. He pitched really well and got out of a jam, and I believe the 8th, where they even pinch hit for Vladdy. So really big stuff from him. And the Web Dog to be able to come in and get out of trouble. Anthony Volpe ends up hitting a home run late to extend the lead to 4-2. And the Yankees take this series with what Boone coins as Nestor and the Funky Bunch, going to Weber and then Albert Abreu and closing it out with the notch. Good stuff from him, 3 up, 3 down to get the save. So, we'll transition on and talk about some key takeaways from this series in particular. The first thing we'll talk about is Aaron Judge. He is the hottest hitter in the MLB right now. He's absolutely mashing home runs, looking or not. That was just absolute crybaby cheese from the Blue Jays and from their announcers. Probably one of the most unprofessional things I've ever seen. But, we'll just move past that because obviously we're the winners, so no need to be too salty. But talking about some of his slashes and stats since he returned, his slash line 303, 442 on base, which is insane, and 788 slugging, an OPS of 1230, which, anything over a 1 point is really, really good. But breaking that down even more, 5 home runs, 9 runs, 12 RBIs, 9 walks, finding ways to really continue to contribute to this team offensively, and is definitely a big reason why this offensive resurgence over the past few series has been going on, and just love having the captain back in the lineup. The next thing that we'll talk about, sort of highlighted it throughout Games 1 and Game 2, lots of drama in Toronto, and I think it's something that's really good for baseball, and I think good for this team overall, for the Yankees, division rivals, the increased amount of energy going on. Sort of saw that with Tampa, with us battling back and forth with them, but, happy to see us really turn on the emotions and be able to harness that and transition it into wins. Again, just highlighting some of the drama, the Aaron Judge situation, looking over at first and in the dugout rather, and which now we know obviously was just the pitcher tipping his pitches in 2 different ways actually. His pre-grip of the ball and sort of his stance before delivering. And the Domingo German situation, he has been suspended for 10 games, which is sort of the standard for getting ejected for sticky stuff. We'll see him come back. He did not end up appealing this decision, so, pretty interesting for what that is worth. The next thing that we'll end up talking about, the bullpen continues to dominate for this New York Yankees team. Still the best in baseball in a lot of different metrics. And just wanted to bring up this point as well. We talked about it in Game 1. We have Jimmy Cordero come in and open for Brito. And it's kind of interesting to see if this will continue for this Yankees team. Obviously not for guys like Garrett Cole, Nestor. I know there's a lot of guys that like to start out of the gate. But there is a lot to be said about how people have been hitting our team through the third rotation. So we'll have to see if that ends up continuing for a few guys at the back. But overall been incredibly strong, and they were able to keep us in a lot of these games here late. So definitely hats off to those guys, especially the Funky Bunch. Really big win last night, and the Web Dog coming up doing his thing, and Abreu, who a lot of people have been sort of back and forth on. Really, really big impact. And another quick stat on that, 4 earned runs on the series, 3 of which came from Marinaccio in that sort of blow-up game. So, and the other one came off that home run from Wandy. Obviously really tough to limit a base runner in that situation, but what are you going to do? The last key takeaway that we're going to talk about is Jose. He goes on the 10-day IL with hamstring tightness, and Ben Rorvet has been activated. The man, a lot of people think a myth, not quite a legend yet, but the jacked catcher is back. Super excited for him to get an opportunity. Injuries have plagued him over the last couple years of his career, but making a really strong statement to be on this team, and glad to see that he's getting an opportunity after producing for us in the minors. Going to fly through some of these injury updates just because we have a few to talk about here, and some of them sort of not too much information on overall. The biggest thing is Luis Severino ended up throwing 60 pitches in 3 1/3 in Somerset. Again, I was at this game. Really cool. CeCe was actually sitting a row behind us and didn't even realize basically until Sevy was done, but pretty cool little experience there. He's going to be activated to start on Sunday in Cincinnati, so excited to see what he's going to be able to contribute, and I think that's why they cut him short on pitches, knowing that he'd come up on Sunday. This decision definitely came in part as well with Herman with the suspension, so excited to see him start and get rolling here back in the majors. Moving on, talking about Giancarlo Stanton. Aaron Boone had mentioned that he is close to starting a rehab assignment, so hopefully over the next 2-3 weeks we'll be able to see Stanton back. Again, easing him back into playing in the outfield, but really exciting news there for Stanton, another bat, and some more help on the way. Transitioning on to Carlos Rodon. The update on him, he is throwing at 90 feet with no incident, so hopefully this means that he's continuing to progress after the cortisone shot, and we're headed in the right direction. Not sure exactly what this timetable will be. Obviously, he's just throwing on flat ground, but again, progress is progress. He's throwing, and definitely a positive step for us there in the pitching front. Transitioning over to another pitcher like we talked about in Game 2, Ian Hamilton. He's getting an MRI in New York City for his groin tightness. He's on the 15-day IL at the moment, so we'll have to see what ends up coming back from that MRI and sort of what we're looking at, timetable to get him back. He's been super effective, so hopefully not too long of a wait for him. And finally, to wrap things up, more of a comical one at this point, but Josh Donaldson, he ends up cutting his hand at his home. I'm not sure if he was making a cabinet, making a sandwich. I have no idea what was going on, but he ends up cutting his hand, and the way that the information was relayed is that he's sort of on a similar time frame to Giancarlo Stanton, so probably looking at 2-3 weeks. Who knows at this point, but we've certainly been more than serviceable without him, so we'll have to see what sort of impact he's able to make when he ends up coming back, but again, not a ton of information in terms of a timeline. And finally, to wrap up the video, talk about some of our upcoming series over the next few. Like I was sort of mentioning earlier, we have 3 at Cincinnati starting tonight. So, be interesting to see if we continue this energy. Obviously, a lot of energy expended on the trip in Toronto, but hopefully more of a momentum builder and something that will allow us to continue throughout the next couple of series. We have Clark Schmidt going tonight. So hopefully we're able to scrap together some wins. A sweep would be awesome, but you never know. On the road, definitely would take 2 out of 3. Yankees have an off day on Monday after the weekend slate. And then we end up having 2 at home. We have 3 coming up against the Baltimore Orioles in a really big divisional matchup. Anytime we're playing divisional opponents right now, it's really, really important to get them under our belt. And they've been pretty solid here to start the year. And after that, we're going to be hosting the San Diego Padres. Obviously a very talented roster, but still looking to really get their footing here in the 2023 season. So hopefully we're going to really be able to take good advantage of some of these matchups that we have and sort of win all 3 of these series. I think would be really important to keep this Yankees team rolling. We've won 11 of our last 16 games. We're 6 games over 500. And now I believe we're, percentage points behind third, or we are third in the American League East. So just continue to chip away until ultimately we're back at full strength and off and running with this squad. Here at the end of the video, I'm just going to include some pictures and videos that I took from AA Somerset on Tuesday night for the Sevy start. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like. And don't forget to subscribe if you are new. But for now, this is your boy Frankie Bones. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.